got a few injuries, the Roos. Are you confident you can get the job done?
Yeah, the message for us is just to keep doing what we've been doing. We put a real focus on finishing out the season strongly. Like, we don't want to drop away and get smacked. And I thought, we were pretty poor against Glenorchy in terms of the scoreboard and what that looked like at the end. But really bounced back last week with a really good performance, and we just want to do that again this week because and carry some momentum in the pre-season and the off-season.
Did you get a few back this week for the last game or anything? Or?
Yeah, Lockie Godonsky and Ollie Burrows-Chang will come back from the Sardis game that they played in. So, we definitely exposed them to senior footy and they'll come in this week.
Just back to what I talk about carrying momentum into the off-season. What do you take into it? It's obviously such a big break when you started here. What are you looking for?
I think it sets up more your what you're trying to do in that little break before you come back to training as well. Like when you're talking to prospective recruits, even at a board level, if they're talking to sponsors, those sorts of things where, you can say, you can show that they're on the right path with their mindset and the way that they finish out the season. And so you want to finish positive. So, the boys walk away not sort of flat, that you copped a couple, big losses or anything like that. So it's more for your mindset and the vibe that people leave with, which I think is really important, and it can set up your next season.
Thanks to jump on footyrecruits.com, mate. We spoke to Bear yesterday, and they've already started the recruiting process. What's the go with you guys?
Yeah, we're already underway with all that. So we'll just quietly go about our business, and we've got some people that we'll talk to that we've already started talking to, which is really good, which has been some positive stuff. But everything's sort of positive this time of year. You don't want to say, we're talking to this, that and the other, and then if you don't follow through and are able to get them on board or get pen on paper, then you start to look a little bit silly. So we'll just go about our business quietly, and and when the time's right, hopefully, we'll get some add to our group. The pleasing thing for us is there's a fair bit of stability going into the off-season, with everyone having re-signed that's played senior footy, obviously apart from Carts, who's heading back to WA, which everyone knows. So, we've got that stability there. So with everyone locked away, so now we can attack the off-season, look at adding to the group.
Where's those positions you feel you need to fill? Obviously your midfield's quite solid, but maybe you gap lacking on either end of the ground. Yeah,
we probably need probably a taller target up forward. But at the end of the day, talent's talent. So, you're not going to say no to someone because they're a pretty good on-baller because we need a tall forward. So you bring them in, you try and get them in, get as many as you can in, and then it's probably my job to make that work then. So, but yes, we'd love a tall target up forward. Obviously, Cooper Sorty will come back into our team next year, who had a really good start to the season, but also Cooper's only an 18-year-old kid, so you can't expect, him to come and be Lance Franklin for us next year. So, we'll just get talent in.
How you guys shaping up, mate? What's your message into the final round in your point?
Yeah, look, third spot's still open, so we're going pretty strong. Ben McGuinness is the only one that we could possibly get back at some stage through the final series. So we're going through the next game pretty strong with our list, and we're probably starting to get a few guys in the twos that are pressing for senior selection. So it's probably not too bad at the moment.
So
how important is it, mate, to put up a good show against them, knowing the final week after?
Oh, well, it's important to put up a good show going into the finals, but it's also, we've still got third spot open. So, we've actually got to beat them to keep a slim chance of getting third spot. So, it's important for a lot of reasons. They're coming off a bye, which they'll be fresh. They want to have a good account of themselves before they have another bye next week. So, it'll be a good test for our players to come up against the top team and have a good crack at it.
Still think the firing on before that, given about 2 breaks in over the space of 3-4 weeks, that they won't be taking you long?
Oh, no, I wouldn't think so. They need to have a good hit out. Cox Goodyear hasn't played for a few weeks, so they'll want to get him back in and probably settle their team down pretty close to what they're going to go into the second semi. So, we'd expect them to come down and have a real good show of themselves.
So Ben's recovery has been better than what you thought, so I think who's fears he might miss the rest of the season? Or?
McGuinness?
Yeah.
We'd have to go really deep into the finals for him to have any chance of coming back. So, and then he has to get cleared by the doctor. So, no, we're not counting on him, but he's probably the only one that's had a slim chance of coming back.
What's the message from you heading into the game when you're against a side that's, you could say, has the mocker over you or the mental edge maybe?
Yeah, look, they've given us some hidings over the last few outings. I thought we were a lot better in the last one up there. 4 goals, had a bad start and pegged that back. So, look, it's funny enough, the players aren't daunted by the challenge. They actually enjoy it. We've had some hidings, but they don't shy away from it. You know, they actually look forward to playing the top team to see where they're at and to test themselves. So, look, we've been playing some pretty good footy over the last 7 weeks, and against the top teams as well. So we've had one hiccup, which was a bit of a downer against Lottie, but apart from that, our footy's been pretty sharp. So we're going pretty confident that we can have a good count of ourselves.
When you North Launceston, what does that mean to you personally now, given what happened last year, and they were pretty outspoken about you as a person after the grand final?
Look, we really don't take much notice of people on the outside. They actually don't know what we do inside our club. I think there's a lot of propaganda bandied around from up the northern part of the state, and that's okay. We certainly didn't take much notice of it. We're pretty much more focused on what we can do as a football club and a football team moving forward. As I said, we've been playing good footy, so if they come down and take us lightly, then we'll get on top of them. Our team's good enough to beat them. So as I said, no one in the competition's unbeatable. If they come down and they're not on their game, then we'll have a crack at them.
Injury list, mate. Run us through who's unavailable this weekend if you can.
Oh, there's a lot. Probably from I think it's from our under 18s to our seniors. I think we've got around 20 players unavailable. So we've got a few out. Castle, from last week, Castle won't play. Williamson won't play. Cox suspended. Can't remember the other ones. There's a few though. So yeah, we're not in a great spot in terms of our health, our injury list, but we can't complain about that. It's a bit like spilled milk, isn't it? I always refer to that. You might as well just clean it up rather than leaving it there and letting it go off. So obviously we lose some soldiers this week, but we get some soldiers in that have done the job for us. We've faced that probably a whole year. We can't really get the nucleus of our list together. Every club's got some injuries, that's for sure. We seem to have just a few more at this stage of the year, which is disappointing, but as I said before, we've just got to move on, buying together as a group, which I think the one thing I have learned this year from our playing group is they'll have a crack, and I'm sure come Saturday at 2 o'clock they'll buy into something and they'll give it a record go.
Chaco back?
We don't know. Yeah, he's got to get through training tonight. He got through some stuff on Tuesday. The nick's really high up near his tendon, so like some nights he feels really good, other nights he doesn't feel great. He can run as much as he wants, but in a controlled environment. But it's when it gets to match simulation type stuff that he just hasn't been able to progress. So whether he can do that tonight, whether we take the risk, it's starting to get to a stage now where we're 1 week out from finals and he hasn't played for 6 weeks. So we just have to wait and see if he gets through tonight, then make a calculated decision on whether we risk him or not, or whether we try and get him through training next week and see how he goes for the first final. So we've got to make some decisions. We just don't know. It's just so much grey area with Jack up at the moment.
Castle, mate, what's his problem?
Oh, he's got a bit of it's almost like a bit of tightness / a spasm in his hamstring. He had it through the second quarter of the Glenelg game. He sort of played out the game, but was a little bit limited. So he'll be fine to go next week. We just think we need to give him the weekend off this week and make sure he's 100% next week.
What were the results with Gabby's scan?
So Gabby's dislocated toe, big toe, so he'll miss this week. He's limping around at the moment. He's pretty tough, Gab, so I reckon he'll be fine for next week. Speedy will play, yep.
Did he dislocate his toe?
Oh, I don't know, but I tell you, he hobbled off. It's disgusting. So he sort of went back on. He sort of battled it out for 2 minutes, and then he came up to me and said, "Look, I just can't run." So he was pretty sore on Sunday and Monday. He texted me yesterday actually saying that you know, his MRI was okay. Just obviously some tendon damage there, but he is on the mend. Again though, is he going to be okay? Can he train next week? So we don't know. Won't play this week though, obviously.
Wary of the Tigers, mate?
Yeah, I am extremely wary. They played some really good footy. I think they've got definitely a team that's got better as the year's gone on. You know, they've got some injuries as well, but you know, they've really got their identity, and you know, the pressure they bring around the ball and the numbers is really good. I like it. I like the way they play footy. So they're going to be a major challenge for us this week. We need to make sure we implement a couple of things to take away that pressure at the source. But yeah, they're in some really good form. Probably a little bit unlucky to lose on the weekend, so you know, it's a big challenge for us this weekend, and probably a good challenge heading into the first final. So yeah, we're excited for it.
Are you confident you can have an impact in finals still?
Yeah, I am. I thought we played our first 40 minutes on the weekend was probably the best we've played for 6 weeks. You know, we played pretty well against North London as well a couple of weeks earlier, but I thought our first half an hour footy on the weekend was great. You know, as I said before, I think the nucleus of our game is really good. We just need to polish it a little bit. So we're trying to. If we had that consistent 22, that makes the job easier, as we just can't seem to get the same 22 each week. But when it clicks, it'll click, Brent.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to click over the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
And we've shown at the start of the year we can beat anyone. We've beaten everyone. So, of course, we can do some damage.
Big game, mate. How are the boys feeling, knowing what's on the line and what you need to do?
Yeah, they're pretty steely resolved, if that's the right description, but they've been pretty focused the last few weeks. So we had a couple of losses in a row at Lauderdale and against North London, and you know, as they say, the losses can be good for you. And from that, it refocused us a little bit. We'd won 4 in a row really well leading up to that point, and you know, it's one of those ones this year where it's been that little bit of a roller coaster. I think this time the players have kind of understood, you know what, we can't have those ups and downs. We can't get ahead of ourselves, and so they've been pretty good. They're really focused on what they want to achieve. I think what was good from the weekend was, you know, we identified at quarter time with the condition of the ground and the way Clarence were playing, and you know, credit to them, their opening was really good. We had to play a certain style of game, and the guys executed it really well, and it's probably not what you think of as our A game. You know, it was a different style of game and something we've been working on a little bit, and so it was really pleasing to see them, you know, beat a pretty good opponent in a style of game that, you know, isn't necessarily the one that we prefer, and that's really good going into finals. And this weekend, you know, looking at what's been happening with the weather, I think it'll be a pretty heavy deck up there at Launceston, so it might be a similar style of game where you've really got to grind it out, and that's an area we've had to improve in. And so we've had some good tests leading in, and this week will be another one. You know, you look at Launceston's list, and you know, their ability to attack from defence is really good. They've got some good, honest in and under players around the footy. They've got 2 good ruckmen, and a dangerous forward line with a nice mix of you know, the 2 big fellas with the resting ruckman and Thorpe, and then Clint Riley, who gives you a bit of both, and then their smaller forwards. You know, Rushton with his speed can create some headaches, and Hines, when he's up there, is pretty clever as well. So it's a tough challenge, and yeah, a good one leading into the next week.
With the prospect of facing them 2 weeks in a row, I guess, do you try and hold anything back, or are you going all out to ensure that you get this win and you show all your hands of what you're looking to do in finals?
Sometimes I guess that evolves with the game, like, you know, what changes do the game require. But yeah, I think any coach last round before finals is hoping not to show everything. You hope your players roll out, play brilliantly, you win, and you don't have to change much. And it's the other team that has to react. But you kind of have to wait and see on the day. I guess the other thing is the next week, if we play Launceston, it would either be at Bellerive or at York Park, and that'll be a different game again from playing at Windsor Park. So yeah, it's an interesting question. You know, like I said, hopefully the guys just play really well, and we can sort of execute our A game pretty well and go from there. But you know, on the day we'll just make reads on what's required.